One thing you can use ChatGPT for is to take large amounts of information and then take that and provide it back to you in a summary form. Maybe we've had to read articles or read documents that are just hugely long, and we just want to get a gist of an idea at first to see if we should even continue reading, or maybe we just want the summary because we're very busy people. So I'm going to show you how you can take a longer piece of something that's already been created and have ChatGPT boil that down into something that's easily for us to consume in terms of a summary of that type of article. So here's the example. So I have this article that is like 6 pages long on the autofocus system, right? And the autofocus system, by the way, is like a time management system, right? A time management system to help you be more productive. And it's this article, you can just see it's poorly written. I mean, as far as just there's no images, it's just all over the place. The text is bad. Can you imagine looking at this? There's gaps, there's all sorts of stuff. So this is not, the easiest thing to read anyways. And it's about 6 pages, right? And I'm like, oh boy, I don't want to really struggle through this. Can ChatGPT take this system, which is an interesting system, the autofocus system for time management and productivity, and boil this down into something, from 6 pages that's really hard to read into something that's more of a summary type point. So let's see if it does that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, can you summarize this article? All right. And then what I'm going to do is I've already copied, I'm going to paste the entire article in there. You can see all this stuff in here. This is the whole article's in there. I hit enter, and okay, it's got this 6-page nasty article, and it's which is on a good topic. Don't get me wrong, the topic's good, and it's going to summarize that for it. So now think about this. If I start reading this article, it'd be hard in my eyes and all. ChatGPT is already summarizing the autofocus system for managing and completing tasks. It's a productivity type system. And it's going to walk right through how to do that in a summary type manner. Think about the documents and things you might have to read, technical manuals, or you want to read some articles that might be for your own improvement at work or whatever, and you're like, and see how it's added now to my chat list here. I just took that 6-page, hard to read, poorly fonted article into something that's really just really one big paragraph. Maybe that should be broken in other paragraphs, right? So now I've got something that's easier for me to consume. In fact, here's a hot tip for you. Let's say I want to take this because it's a part of my chat where we're talking to a friend, and I'd say, can you make this into a bullet point format? All right, so bullet point, that's the French for point. That's not for all my French friends. That's not French at all. So can you make this, I'm taking this part, because this is what we're chatting here, and I'm asking, can you take this and put this into a bullet point format? So already start doing that, see? So sure, here are the steps I'll focus in a bullet point form, right? Actually, it's actually taking the original article because it's pulling all this stuff, but it's also pulling from here, but it's pulling from the whole conversation to basically make this into something. Now, this is something that's really easier to read, right? I want a step-by-step thing on how to use this system, this autofocus system, so I can be more productive, right? And now it's walking through, how to do it with a notebook, list of tasks. It's walking you right through to do that as you're looking at that. Talking about in this system, you work on the item for as long as desired versus, let's say, the Pomodoro technique. In fact, let's say I like the system, I'm like, I could just build on that and say, I could ask the pros and cons of the system, but let's say I want to, could you compare autofocus to Pomodoro, which is another type of time management type technique, right? And Pomodoro does have limits as far as how long you spend on stuff, right? It says they're both time management methods that can help individuals increase their productivity and focus. And then I'll walk right through what the autofocus system is, and then they'll walk through what the Pomodoro system is. And then you could go from there. You could ask, what's the pros and cons of each? And you're really starting to expand on that, because not only is it pulling from the article, but now it's pulling from the wider AI system. So it's not limited to the article. It's pulling from the AI system. So just bear with me. Pros and cons of autofocus, right? So this is not pulling from the other stuff. If it's in the article, it might pull a little bit, but it's really pulling from a wider AI thing. So I'm not limiting myself. It's building on this chat, right? So this is nice, right? Maybe I looked at the autofocus up top here and had a nice summary, and I'm like, well, should I do this? Sure, here's the pros of doing this, but there's some cons too. What are the cons to it? Well, it may not be suitable for tasks that require more structured, scheduled approach. That need long focus over a longer period of time, because it's more like short focus time periods. So it really gives me ideas. So just by doing that, I just learned the autofocus system and maybe how it compares to Pomodoro as an example. So using ChatGPT to basically take an article and boiling it down into something that's summarized, you can get the information you need quickly just from that. But then you can build on that and increase your education, your knowledge by asking questions about, give me examples, give me, what are the pros and cons? I could ask it for an example, give me examples. So all those kind of things you can do to kind of keep building it out to help with your education as well.